Okay, so I want to put this extra video up there just as another example, just to show you guys one other thing that we didn't really talk about today. Okay, so again, this pattern here, we start with 2, and then we multiply by 5 every time. Okay, so that should tell you right away that this is geometric. Okay, because we're multiplying or dividing. This time we happen to be multiplying. Okay, so we talked about this, the explicit equation. We start with the first number of the list, which is 2, and then the pattern, what we're doing to it every time, times 5. And then we said it's always going to be the x minus 1 power, okay, for now. Alright, so in class, a couple people were asking about this in the chat. Okay, so it's, for now, I just want you to remember it's always going to be x minus 1. Okay, but as we get further on in the chapter, okay, we're going to start seeing some other things and looking at some other types of tables and patterns, okay, where we might have to adjust that. Alright, but for now, I want to make sure that you guys can get this part, where the 2 and the 5 come from, okay, because believe it or not, that's the hardest part, okay, and then this x minus 1 part, we'll talk about that, okay, later on. Alright, so for now, it's just always x minus 1. Okay, so now, something you might be asked to do on the test here is I might ask you, okay, well, if you were to continue this pattern, what would be the 8th number of the list? Okay, so if I asked you what the 8th number of the list is, okay, that means what we would do with this equation is we would plug in 8 for x. Okay, so notice how I replace the x with the 8. That's basically telling the reader that I'm going to replace this x with this 8 also. Okay, so I just rewrite everything above, 2 times 5, but instead of x minus 1, it would be 8 minus 1, okay, which is 7. Alright, so now, my calculator, remember when we do stuff like this, okay, we need to do exponents first. Exponents come before multiplying. So that means we need to do this whole 5 to the 7th power, and then whatever we get, we're going to multiply that by 2. Okay, so if you do 5 to the 7th power, I just did it on my calculator, you get 78,125. Okay, so now that we did the e, okay, now we could do the m, the multiplying. Okay, so we know what that's going to come out to. Now we just have to multiply that by 2. And on my calculator, it's going to be 156,250. Okay, so that would be 156,250. That would be the 8th number of that list. All right, so that's something that you're going to need to be able to do on the test also.